Now to the election campaign with just about 2 weeks until we go to the polls.
And all three party leaders are concentrating on the voter-rich GTA. CTV's Colin DeMello's on College Street, where the NDP leader made her last stop of the day. Colin.
Well, and she's coming off another great long weekend, Ken, because the polls are showing new support for Andrea Horwath, and it seems like the other parties are tuning into that as well. They are trying to chip away at every little bit of support that she may be gaining over the last few days. Today, Andrea Horwath under renewed scrutiny, under renewed focus over some of her platform elements, specifically relating to alcohol and cannabis sales. When beer and wine were first introduced into Ontario grocery stores, Andrea Horwath confesses to being taken aback.
You know, I'm not happy that my cheese department now sells beer in my local grocery store.
More than 350 grocers carry beer, while 70 stores carry wine. But Horwath says if elected, she wouldn't go any further.
What I'm saying is I don't believe that we need to expand it to 2 corner stores.
When it comes to cannabis, however, the approach is exactly the opposite. Horwath says the 40 government-operated retail shops set to open this July is too few.
I think there are more than 40 outlets in Hamilton, which is where I'm from.
But Horwath says she wouldn't turn to private cannabis retailers to make up the difference. So the sale of cannabis will stay in public hands and not private at all, whatsoever.
That's our goal, absolutely. I mean, in the same way with wine and beer, I mean, social responsibility is a big piece for us, and that's why we've said that we don't have to fix what's not broken when it comes to the LCBO.
This new scrutiny over Horwath's policy and promises is linked to the party's ascension in the polls. And Horwath spent the entire weekend answering other questions about a major math mistake in her platform.
Well, you know, there's no doubt that that there was a piece of our platform that was incorrect.
The party counted $700 million earmarked for a reserve fund as revenue, when it should have been marked as an expense, meaning the NDP would accumulate an extra $7 billion in debt over 5 years. Expect the scrutiny to continue with 16 days left until the election. And back to beer and wine in grocery stores. The current plan is to expand them to 450 grocery stores across the province. Well, the NDP saying today that if elected, they would take a pause. They would review the program to see if it's working, if there are any concerns, which means it could not be expanded beyond 350 if the NDP isn't satisfied with how it's working out. Reporting live near Kensington Market, I'm Colin DeMello. Now over to you.
Thank you, Colin.
One of your party's biggest challenges is convincing people that you can handle the province's finances. And yet, over the weekend, it was revealed a $1.4 billion mistake in your platform. How can anybody believe that you can actually handle the finances? What will this do to you balancing the budget? When will you balance the budget, and how? That is one of many questions thrown at Andrea Horwath today. A new Ipsos poll finds she is neck and neck with PC leader Doug Ford. In fact, Ipsos concludes if an election were held tomorrow, 37% would cast a ballot for the NDP, 36% for the PCs, and 23% for the Liberals.
Very good. Okay, great. Thanks again.
This is the third time Horwath has run as a provincial leader and the closest she has come to a potential win. But that means she's now under greater scrutiny than ever before. Watch how she answers questions about weekend revelations her party made a $1.4 billion math mistake on their platform.
There's no doubt that that there was a piece of our platform that was incorrect, and that got noticed by a reporter that we did not catch it ourselves. And when it was caught, the first thing that we did was acknowledge it. What this challenge that we faced is going to do is going to mean that it's going to take us a little bit deeper into deficit over the couple of years that we've identified our deficit being growing from year 1 to 3. Year 4, year 5, we're still going down to a balance.
How are you going to balance the books? I mean, Doug Ford says he's going to find efficiencies. How are you going to balance the books? And why? You know, I've never seen a mistake in a platform like this before. How can people trust you?
Well, what I will say is this: people can trust that if they want change for the better, they have two choices in change. One is Mr. Ford, who's going to cut more services, who's going to make it harder for people to get the health care they need, who is going to close schools, who's going to, basically cut 1,000 apprenticeship positions in our province. That's not change for the better. People can trust that if they're looking for change for the better, New Democrats are the ones to offer that change.
Other reporter questions to Horwath included a question about an NDP candidate who doesn't wear a poppy on Remembrance Day, as well as the environment that she would create for small business.
As the NDP support appears to grow, the party and its leader are facing increasing scrutiny from both the left and the right.
That's right. CB24's Lena Lattifat joins us live now with more on that. And as the NDP go up in the polls, so does the scrutiny and all the attention.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Nathan. In fact, two recent polls suggest the NDP and the Ontario PCs could be tied when it comes to support. So does that make Andrea Horwath the perfect target here? We know, in fact, for the last week, we've seen Wynne and Ford go after Andrea Horwath. And just today, we saw Doug Ford in Pickering today, where, of course, he talked about Andrea Horwath. He talked about the NDP, and he talked about the Pickering nuclear power plant there as well. He says, unlike the NDP, his party would keep that plant open until 2024, and says what the NDP don't realize is that shutting this plant down would take away thousands of jobs. So clearly, Andrea Horwath, a topic of conversation as we see her support grow in the polls. Here's more from Ford.
You're watching Global Toronto. This is Global News at 5:30. You're watching Global Toronto. This is Global News at 5:30.
This week, the NDP lead the popular vote up 2 points to 37%. The PC party drops 4 points to second at 36%. The Liberals holding steady where they are. And so far, 4% of decided voters say they'll vote for someone else.
I like NDP, but I think let's give the Green Party a chance.
Tell me what it is about the NDP that will get your vote.
Oh, I almost can't vote any other way. They're just closest to my ideology.